So to induct Richie White, I'd like to bring out current Covey Pro wrestler and former heavyweight champion, Bazooka Joe.
I'd like to make a correction. First off, I am the current television champion. Forgot about that. Let's give it up for Covey Pro. Let's give it up for Pap. Lap for Pap. Lap for Pap. For Pap. Yeah, it's definitely not going to be the same without him in the crowd. We'll miss him every day. And I just appreciate everything he did for our business and our company, and I'll never forget him. But I want to thank everybody for coming out. It's All or Nothing weekend. All or Nothing 9. I mean, let's get fired up here. It's the Covey Pro Hall of Fame 2015. So I was given the honor of inducting one of my good personal friends, Richie White. And there's so much stuff I want to talk about with Richie White. I mean, I've known him, I guess I was here 2008, right? I think that's when I first started.
January of 09.
No, okay, 2009, all the years like run together, come on. All the concussions, all the titles, it all kinds of runs together. But the thing about the wrestling business is there's a lot of people that are cutthroats. There's a lot of people that are just nasty, downright rude, unprofessional people. So when you come across somebody like Richie White, it's just a breath of fresh air. I mean, professional, genuine, down to earth. I mean, this guy is the soul of Covey Pro. I mean, without a doubt. I mean, he's one of the guys, like, if you're having a bad day, and you're, perfect example. This microphone is really bothering me today. I don't know what. Perfect example, so the last match I had for television championship, I was a little nervous, I didn't feel good, back was hurting, and Richie White comes up and he's like, everything all right? I'm like, yeah, but I just don't feel right tonight, like something's off. And Richie White, Joe, everything's gonna be good. You know, you've done this for years, everything's gonna be great, just have faith. Man of faith, and that's the key thing with him. Faith, professionalism, and just the soul of this company. And I took his advice, I calmed down. Sure enough, television champion still, right? Yeah. So I don't know how a guy from Brooklyn makes it all the way to Paw Paw, West Virginia. And we've talked about that, and I'm sure he's going to talk about it. It's a long story, but I'm so glad that he made that trip and he came out here. I mean, you see the video package. How many people can say in their lifetime they've fulfilled all their dreams? I mean, EMT, firefighter, wrestling, he's done it all. I mean, the guy's been truly blessed. And every time you talk to this guy, have a conversation with him, you're blessed too. I mean, he's just got that kind of personality that makes you just want to do better in life. Another example, one of my biggest, I have a lot of things I like to change about myself personally, but one of them is cussing. I cuss a lot. Sorry, this is the way it is. But every time I cuss, I'm like, I was like, Richie, and then he's like, Joe? Yeah. And he keeps us in line. So that kind of led to a conversation about the Bible, and we talked for like 20 minutes about this, and next show he was like, hey, I got a book for you. Well, actually, he was talking about a book. Gave me the title of the book, I looked it up, I was like, wow, this is a great book. Next time I see him, he's got the book. Here you go, Joe. That's just the kind of guy he is. You know? That book is still in my dresser, and I've read All right, I didn't read the whole thing, but I read about half of it, which for me is great because I hate to read. But anyway,
At least you read some of it.
that's what I'm saying, right? That counts for something. I don't know if you remember this crazy ladder match we did a few months ago. Yeah. So I happened to go through a table by who I thought was my buddy, who hit me with a ladder and fly through the table. First person I see when I kind of come back to reality, Richie White. First thing he says, hey Joe, you all right? I look at him and like,
Do I look all right?
do you see that just happened to me? I got hit with a ladder, flew off the apron, and went through a table. Am I all right? I said, no, Richie, I'm not all right. So he's like, how bad is it? I said, I don't know, man. You tell me. You're the EMT. I'm like, really? So, but anyway, he's like, Joe, we'll take care of you, no problem. And he kind of helps me to the back, and he's wrapping up my leg. He's got the ice on it. And that's just kind of the guy. But now, even though he's known me for years, he'd do that for anybody. Yep. It wouldn't matter.
That's right.
I mean, I remember one time he was saying he was late for a show. We always kind of worry about him because he's got all these crazy calls he gets called on. And he was talking about, I think it was like a truck jackknifed off of a road or something. I mean, all that kind of stuff happens every time with this guy. And he makes it to the show. Yeah, so I'm complaining about my 4-hour drive, and this guy just saved somebody's life and still makes it to a wrestling show. I mean, that's dedication. You know what I mean? So it gives me a great honor. I had the honor of him having my last match, so I would like to present him this award and welcome him into the Covey Pro Hall of Fame of 2015, Richie White.
In the Bible, it says to let your praises be sung by others. To listen to that video, I was on your show that night, and I got silent because I watched that video, and it just blew me away. It's an honor to be here tonight. To be inducted in the Hall of Fame says a lot about what your peers think about you. To be inducted with Roy Covey and Crazy Shay is an added honor. I have a story, and like Cody said, it started a long time ago. Yeah, I'm back from when TV was in two colors, black and white, okay? And yeah, I'm old, but Donnie D, I can still whoop you. Only kidding, my man, only kidding. All right? I was about 6 years old, and my parents had me enrolled in a parochial school. And I came home from school one day and I told my mom, I want to be a priest. She cried. She cried. Now, I don't want to say that my mom put a lot of pressure on me, but by the age of 9 now, I'm taking Latin and going through the whole thing of the service in Latin and everything. By age 9, I was training other kids how to do it. And my mom would walk around the church saying, that boy ain't going to be a priest. He's going to be the first American pope. Thanks, Mom. But also, you know, and my love for the Lord, my love for serving Him, that never dwindled. And I got my parents to thank for that. Because they taught me three things: God, family, country. And nothing gets in the way of that. So my desire to serve the Lord just never dwindled, even when I wasn't accepted to the seminary at the time. They found out, here I was now, I'm 14 years old, I'm done my first year of high school, I want to go into seminary, and they found out something: I couldn't read. I had a reading disability that somehow I still made honor roll all the way through, but I somehow still made it there, but I couldn't pass their reading test. Okay, we'll put that one on hold for a little while. Growing up on Elmont and part of Brooklyn, they had a lot of fire companies, and my class went to the local fire hall for a field day, and just the thought of sliding down that pole was exciting, all right? But it was also the thrill of being responsible to save someone's life. That desire to save someone. You know, talking to these guys that have gone into burning buildings and pulled people out. They've gone to car wrecks and cut people out of cars and that. And there was just that excitement about being part of that. That when I was old enough, I joined the junior fire department, and we used to have a thing called bang tails. That was a lot of fun. I wish they would still do that today. Here we are, a bunch of teenage kids. We got a cart that is about this wide. It's got about 200 feet of 1.5-inch hose on it. And it's got these two wheels. And the challenge was that we had to run down the street, hit the hydrant, pull this hose off, and hit that target. And we had to do it faster than anybody else. The last bangtail team that I was on, we won New York State Championship. But that was also a bittersweet night because I had turned 18, I couldn't be with the Bangtails anymore. I put my application in to be part of the Elmont Fire Department, and the chief walked up to me and said, "You will never be a member of my fire department." Well, remember that because it's going to come around. But the desire to serve didn't stop. '64, Island Garden Arena. Now it's not there anymore. Nassau Coliseum has replaced it a few towns up. But Island Garden Arena was the home for WWF and for New York Nets basketball. Dr. Julius Ervin and Rick Barry played on that court. All right? And my dad takes me to my first live show. Now, I've been watching it on TV because my pap introduced me to it. One night, we were out in Brooklyn. We were out at my aunt's house. I guess I'm about 8 years old at the time. My cousins and I were playing ball, and everybody was having a cookout there. And it's what we did. That's what families did. On weekends, we got together, and we had these cookouts, and we had a great time. And I remember coming in from playing ball, and there's my mom and my aunts, and they're playing their penny ante card games. All right? And there's my dad sitting over here with my uncles in lounge chairs and lawn chairs, and they're talking sports, or they're talking politics, or they're talking, I don't know, jobs or anything. But one of the things back then, kids did not sit in on adult conversations.
That's right.
So we had to do our own little thing, okay? We had to do our own little thing. Well, on the grill, there's chicken, there's hot dogs, there's hamburgers and everything. So we're having a good old time feasting on that. And I noticed my pap is sitting off by himself by the garage because there was an outlet there. All right? And with his old little 9-inch rabbit ear TV, he's watching TV. And I'm like, well, there's no games on, so what is he watching? And I walked over to him, and at first I said, Pap, do you want a hot dog? He goes, yeah. So I gave him the one I had, and gave him a soda. I went back and got my own, and I came back and go, Pap, what you watching? He goes, you're going to sit there and be quiet and just watch. Okay. And it's Ray Morgan announcing, TV announcer for the WWF. Friendly Bob Freed was in the ring, and I got my first taste. And if I remember right, the match was Baron Miguel Cicluna and Smasher Sloan against Antonio Pugliese and Bruno Sammartino. And I never heard my pap cuss until then. Because Baron Cicluna went into his tights and pulled out a roll of quarters, and he went to hit Bruno, but he missed. All right? And a free-for-all broke out, and then Wild Red Berry comes running down to the ring, as he could, and I'll tell you what, Red Berry can cut a promo. I don't know if you ever heard him, but Red Berry can cut a promo. Not as good as the Grand Wizard, but he was up there. And with him is a man, the biggest man I've ever seen was a man named Tank Morgan. And they jumped Bruno, and my pap is up there. He's screaming and hollering. He threw the hot dog. He threw the soda at the TV. And I'm standing up there getting just as excited as he is about this. Then I find out I could watch this every Saturday afternoon on Channel 9. I would hurry home from altar boy lessons or delivering papers, whatever it was, and I would hurry home just so I can watch it. 1964, Island Garden Arena, and my father takes me to my first live show. I had just been promoted in school. It was my birthday, so Dad figured what a way to celebrate. Two memorable things happened that night. In the ring was a guy named Tony Castro and crazy Luke Graham. And Luke Graham had that move where he'd turn away from the referee, pull the guy's head up and stick the thumb into the throat, right? Well, I see it coming. I'm standing on my chair. I'm yelling at the referee. Luke Graham turns around, looks at me, and spits at me. All right? And I'm like, come on down, come on down. You know, I'm 10 years old. I'm standing on my chair. Hey, my father's standing next to me. This guy ain't going to do nothing. All right? Tony Castro gets thrown out of the ring, and he lands on my father's lap. My father turns to me and says, I've been to Ebbets Field, I've been to Yankee Stadium, I've been to Shea Stadium, and never caught a baseball. I come for my first live wrestling show, and I catch a wrestler. The highlight of the night, the heavyweight championship match. Toru Tanaka against Bruno Sammartino. And as is usual, Bruno comes running out. This is before they had entrance music, okay? So we had no way really of knowing who was coming down until they showed up. I see the golden boy, Arnold Skolin, leading Bruno to the ring. And Bruno's got his hand out. All right? I'm front row. There's no barriers or anything like that. And I got Bruno's hand. I wouldn't let go. And Bruno turns around and pats me on the head and says, how you doing, son? I was hooked. As he ran into the ring, I yelled, watch out for the salt. because Teru Tanaka had that little gimmick where he would have salt and he would throw it in the opponent's eyes. And right at the moment he's about to do it, I yelled into the ring, "Watch out!" And Bruno ducks. And I'd like to take credit for that. He misses. Bruno throws him into the ring, into the ropes. As he comes off, Bruno ducks down, gets him in that big squeeze, and he made Teru Tanaka tap out. He holds his hands up. He's being awarded the match. He won the match. He's got his title up, and he pointed down. And I want to think he pointed at me. And I was hooked. I came home. When we came home the next morning, when I got up, we came down to the breakfast table, and I said to my mom, "I know what I want to do when I grow up." She goes, "Yeah, I know. You want to be a priest and you want to be a fireman." She goes, "No, Mama, I want to be a professional wrestler." She dropped the bowl of oatmeal, yelled for my father, who comes running in. "What? Tell him he can't do that." Okay? Dad says, "Wait till you get bigger." Well, time has a way of changing some dreams, but never taking away the desire. In 1973, I graduated high school. A lot of my friends are being sent off to Vietnam. I know my number's coming up. I'm enrolled in college, and I'm just waiting. So while I'm waiting, I'm like I said, I'm in college, and I start to work for a company called Doubleday Incorporated. I'm a security guard for them, and I'm also deputized by the Garden City Police Department to direct traffic. All right? And every day, this young lady, Loretta Catalano, would come out to the corner to wait for her ride. And as soon as I saw her, I said, "Hey, I want to get to know this girl." And I would walk up and I would say, "Hey, how you doing?" "Fine." "Nice day out, isn't it?" "Yeah." "Are you waiting for a ride?" "Uh-huh." And this went on for months. I couldn't get any more than one-word answers out of her. All right? One day, I'm directing traffic, and oh, by the way, I got to tell you, I have one other accolade about Doubleday Incorporated. I'm the only employee of Doubleday Incorporated to give Nelson Doubleday III a parking ticket in his own lot and get away with it. All right? But this one day I'm directing traffic, and this lady is coming out, and she's insisting she's going to make an illegal turn. And I went, She's telling me, "I'm the managing editor," whatever, I forgot what her title was. And I said, "Lady, me and this badge says you're going that way." All right? Thinking that I won the argument, I stepped off my safe spot, and she came right at me. But I had training in football and wrestling and everything like that. I learned how to deflect and move to reduce the impact. And with the back end of her car, she took out my legs as I was leaning on her car. All right? So now I hit the ground, and I'm more embarrassed than hurt, okay? Yeah, I got a few scrapes and everything. I turned around, I whipped out my nightclub, I swung it at her car, I broke her taillight. And then I looked at the plate, and I said, it was easy for me to remember. Her plate was my father's initials and his birthday. Can we say done? All right? Loretta comes running over to me. And I look up, and she says, "Are you all right?" And seriously, the first thought was, oh my goodness, a full sentence. But now it gets even better, boys. All right? Because now she's my material witness. I got to get name, address, and phone number. That was 1973. We were married shortly after. 39 years. 39 years, she's not just my wife, she's my best friend. And she always will be. She always encouraged me that I could be what I wanted to be. And in 1997, things changed. I've been working for the post office for a long time. I've been a veteran, served. I did not go in country and Nam, but I served during that time. Came home to raise a family. Bounced from job to job, still had that desire. And in 1997, well, actually, we're going to take it back to 1985, we decided to leave Long Island to go upstate New York to help a church plant to build up there. I became the associate minister, and I also became the youth minister of that congregation. And then in 1997, after my son Richard had a severe hunting accident where he almost lost his life, he says, he says, I want to be a preacher, Dad. We decided, 1997. 1997, we leave upstate New York and we go to Knoxville, Tennessee, where we enrolled in seminary together. And they said it was the first time ever at that university that a father and son were going through the preaching program at the same time. I graduated with my bachelor's degree in 2000. He graduates in 2001. I also graduated in 2004 with my master's in divinity. And we started serving in a small town, Shirley, Indiana. And they just weren't used to somebody like me. I mean, I'm the kind of person, if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do something. I had a reputation in that town because I would get up at 2 o'clock in the morning and drive to the center of town. Now, town was small, okay, but where the county line came right down the middle of Main Street, all right? So the drunks would come out of the bar and they would look to see which county cop was coming, and they'd get on the other side of the street. So in wanting to help them, I would get out in my car, I'd drive to the center of town, and I would pick these guys up and take them home so that they wouldn't get DUIs. Some of those people became members of my congregation. And we served there until about 2002, when the congregation there said they thought it was time for me to leave, and I said, yeah, I guess it is. And I come to Paw Paw, West Virginia. We've been there now since 2002, and I don't see myself going anywhere else. So dream one is happened. I am now an ordained minister, and I'm serving God, and I'm loving what I'm doing. And one Sunday morning, one of the members of my congregation passed out, and nobody knew what to do. And I said, I didn't like being in that situation. Now, all along, and I'll tell you, my motto of ministry is very simple. It's ministry without walls. Don't think you're going to confine me to a church building or to an office. I minister to the community. That's right. And that's the way, and our congregation, that's the way we look at it. And when Spinney passed out, the EMTs came in, and as they were taking him out, I said, I'd like to get some training in this. And they said, well, great. We got an EMT class starting next week. But you got to join the fire department. And I said, okay, talk to the members, talk to the congregation about it. They were all in favor. They said, what a better way to minister to the community than to do this. And they supported me. And 600 hours of training in EMT and Firefighter 1. By the end of 2004, that dream came true. Fast forward 2008. And I'm subbing at Paw Paw High School. You remember? Cody comes in. Now, Cody and I, we've been talking about this. he's telling me about his wrestling schools, and I've been talking about it, and I was saying, well, I'm waiting for you to do something over here, and you did. You came into the park with Jake the Snake Roberts that night. I remember that. And that was a great time as well. But now he walks in while I'm subbing at the high school. Now, what's unusual about this, Paul Ackerman was the teacher. Paul Ackerman doesn't take a day off. All right? But he happens to take a day off that day that Cody comes in to look about setting up for the ring for All or Nothing 2. Now, he says it in there, but it's not exactly like that. He's pretty close, though. First thing I say to him, I says, hey, you need a medic? And he goes, yeah. I said, great, I'm a medic. I can be a medic for your show. All right? And he goes, oh, cool, that'll be great to have you. And I said, so then I decided to push the envelope a little bit. I says, can I be a referee too? And he was very gracious because he didn't hesitate. He turned around and said, sure, I got just a match for you. And Pat Lawson that night took me aside to train me a little bit that night so I can be prepared for what was going to happen. And that began a wonderful story that ends here tonight and brings us to why we are here tonight. Dream number 3 came true that night. And it's an awesome dream. I want to tell you, don't give up on your dreams. You got a dream to be something. You got a dream to be somebody. Don't give up on that dream. Here I am, I'm 60 years old, actually 61 years old. And I can say the 3 things that I set out to be at 6 years old, I have lived it now. All because of this. I want to thank first the fans. You supported us. Without you, there is no Covey Pro. Without you, there is no show. And I want to thank you all for coming out each time we put up a show. Whether it was Confluence, PA, whether it's Charleston, West Virginia, Fairmount, Philippi, Frederick, Gettysburg, and right here in Berkeley Springs, West Virginia. And I want to thank you for that. And Cody, I want to thank you. Because if you didn't say yes that night, this doesn't happen. But you let me live my dream. And I thank you for that. I can never repay you for that. But I thank you for that. And one last person. I thank my family for always being there for me, to always encouraging me and helping me to do what I wanted to do and supporting me in that. And I thank my wife. She's been down the road. We've been from Long Island to Seneca Falls, to Knoxville, Tennessee, to Shirley, Indiana, to Paw Paw, West Virginia. All right? And she's been with me all the way. Guys, the girls like uniforms and badges. You want her name and number, get a uniform and a badge. And lastly, I just want to thank God, because without Him giving us the ability to do what we do, our dreams just remain that, a dream. Thank you all.